Zeron here for Terrible Damage, bringing you a PvT on Daybreak. We have here in the upper right our red Protoss player, Grimmid, and in the bottom left, the blue Terran, Sauce. So, here we have this, we're on Daybreak here, PvT. A lot of people complaining from the Terran side on Protoss late game. But so far, results in terms of tournaments have seemed to bear out that at least Terran can win, even if there may be a little bit of problem. Their late game, they have fun. Good luck from Sauce. Just see what comes out of this game. I'm not completely sure what level we're looking at, so I am ready for anything. I'm ready for crazy nothing but carriers out of Protoss. I'm ready for proxy battle cruiser out of Terran. Give me anything. But so far we just have a pylon and a supply depot. Nothing too exciting, nothing proxied. We have the barracks going down at 12, quite normal. We have the gate at 15, everything normal so far, and a 13 scout. So the Terran with the 13 scout coming out from Protoss will have the option of fully walling off to prevent scouting if he should so desire. As the probe comes in, still just the one gate. We don't have a gas yet out of the Protoss, so we may be going for a one gate expand. Looks like that is what he'll be doing. The probe does get in just before that supply depot goes down, so he gets the scouting information, but the probe will be trapped in there. Well, the resource is getting up over 500 here, and there we go. So a little late on that Nexus, but that's okay. He does get that down before his Terran counterpart, so he will have the economic lead from that. As long as the Terran doesn't get to exploit, and it doesn't look like he'll be able to, going to be putting down a command center after the first racks himself. So very similar openings from both sides. One rack's fast expand, one gate fast expand. They're particularly fast from the Protoss, as he did it right after the gates, delaying the cyber core as well. Now has his one gas up. We don't have any gas from the Terran player as of yet. Just going to be getting that bunker up out front ahead of time. Pretty normal game so far. We have a Zealot just seeing if he can pick off any SCVs sitting around for any sort of SCVs looking for scouting. Here it comes, just pokes up directly up the middle. With good control, he might be able to catch that. No, doesn't stutter step it, and the SCV will get into the main, going to chrono boost out that Stalker and Cybernetics score, so it'll be interesting to see what he goes in for, spending his chrono boost actually on the production, and a significant amount of it as opposed to just probes. If we look at the Protoss's vision, he does not know about the Terra Naturals so far. Look at probes, 25 to 20, still everything normal with the mules to even it out. We've got even economy here. We have the Zealot and Stalker moving out, normal poke. Going to see this bunker here. Likely expect that there is an expansion, and would be correct. Nothing too tricky going on. And here come two more gateways and a robo. So this can transition into pretty much anything. He has two gases right now, so he could just get the robo for an observer and then go right into Twilight Tech, or transition right into Colossi, or even do a big immortal bust off of 2 base. Can't really tell at this point. So far, not really a whole lot interesting. Very, very standard play from both sides. We now have the factory. 2 reactors going down. So going to be very marine heavy. So if the Protoss player does go directly into Colossus, that could work out very well because the Terran player is going to be very marine heavy, and the Colossi should be out just in time. Nope, but is going into Twilight Council as I'm saying that. So this could work out. The Terran player going to be having a lot of Marines with his medevacs as opposed to having a more Marauder-heavy army. So if he catches him before Storm or before the Protoss goes in for a lot of charge lock, which he doesn't really have a gateway count right now to support, looks like he could do a lot of damage. There's the Templar Archives, but we'll see how sharp the timing is. We do have the starport building. We're swapping out with the reactor factory. As soon as that is done, we do have the observer sitting out here. An interesting position. If we look, he doesn't have vision of the ramp though. Normally you'd want to have vision of the ramp to see when he's moving out. Sitting over here, all you'll really see is anything going around the side, which is more indicative of taking a third base as opposed to any sort of move out. We do have a stalker going to poke around. A large bank being accumulated for Grimmid, and it hasn't warped these 2 gateways either. Chrono boosting out Storm, and here comes a move out with these bio units. Right now I do like the play of Sauce in this game so far. I think it could have been a bit dicey going for quite a marine heavy play if he doesn't put on pressure soon. Especially since I don't see an engineering bay for any upgrades. But we also at the same time don't have a forge from our Protoss player, so upgrades are something both sides are neglecting. We're actually having a double medevac drop. This could be dangerous because he does have High Templar out for feedback on those medevacs, even though Storm isn't quite done, though it's about to finish. So Storm is going to finish just as this hit gets here. The High Templar do have enough energy for Storm. He drops into the main. We'll see if he can do enough damage to make it worth it. He isn't dropping his other medevac. That's a bit of a mistake there. He's going to pick up and get out of there. So, fortunately, going for charge first doesn't have blink, though that probably wouldn't have been done either. Here comes a move in, a stim and run in with this bio force, but tries to pick off the High Templar. Gets one. Not terrible, but really didn't do the damage he wanted to. So I think Grimmid's got to be feeling pretty safe here and can take a third. And here he goes immediately to do that. But in the meantime, the third for Sauce is almost already done. Now the Ghost Academy, in response to seeing those High Templar, are coming out. We do have 2 engineering bays now, so we're going to be trying to catch up on those upgrades. The scan goes down. I'm not really sure what the scan was for. Maybe to see that the army hadn't moved out, but he already knew exactly what his opponent was doing, so I'm not sure about that scan. Do we actually not have combat? We don't have combat shields for the Marines right now. So that that has to be an oversight from Sauce. Just missing that upgrade completely. That could really hurt as this game goes on, and that splash damage gets bigger and bigger from the Protoss player. A very zealot-heavy composition, but with Sauce playing a macro game here, sitting back, getting everything up and running. He's looking pretty good. 54 SCVs to 59 probes, so with the mules, he's got to be feeling pretty good about that. In terms of the harassment, killed only 5 probes, so not a lot of damage, but he is still in good position in terms of economy. We do have the +1 attack finishing up for the Protoss, but we do have double engineering bay from our Terran player, though he's not really utilizing them very well at the moment. He does have the armory down to continue with his upgrades, though, past +1, and there we go, we have +2 starting now. Another pickup of a single medevac going out, while his main force moves out here to the third, but man, there are a lot of zealots here with charge. He actually got +1 attack instead of +1 armor, which is a bit of a mistake. Normally +1 armor is going to be better for those zealots against Marines particularly. But the drop into the main, as well as the move out here, the medevacs are a bit forward, just doesn't matter as the stalker count is non-existent there. Picks up, but he's going to fly over those stalkers. Nothing happening over here. Here comes the stim in. The medevacs, one medevac does get taken down, but the other gets out. The stim in, and he's going to be able to focus down that third. No, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. So close, and now these units need to be picked up because he is not going to be able to get away from these zealots. But he's doing a good job kiting, but this is too Marauder heavy. He doesn't have enough DPS coming out of these Marauders to make this a worthwhile trade. Now the Stalkers and Sentries catch up to get those down, but down to 226 out of 1,000. I would have actually preferred him to sacrifice some units just to finish focusing that down. Because he was going to lose a lot of units no matter what there. Now Sauce is looking in trouble. Grimmid has his tech up. He's at 169 supply to 126. And a counterattack here with Colossus could be deadly. His range is finishing up. A second Colossus coming out. He's getting his fourth. He has a lot of bank, so he could... Actually, he does have quite a lot of gateways as well, getting even more, so he's looking in fantastic position now. Managing to take absolutely nothing from that aggression from Sauce. So we're going to see how he tries to come back. He's building a fourth command center, which is rather risky, but when you're behind, you have to take risks just to try and get back into it. Now, there are a lot of ghosts on the field now with the MP. No cloaking, though. And Grimmid closing in on max. He's 188, getting another Colossus, probably saving up that supply for more Colossi. I don't see any High Templar here, though. There's one at the main. There are 6 overall, so where are these High Templar? There's one at the natural, 2 at the main. Perhaps I'm just missing it in this army? No. There's none with the army. The rest must be over here. There's another one at the third. I mean, if you have the tech for both, it's better to have both. It's going to be very hard to deal with multiple forms of area of effect damage. Now we have only a single Viking on the field from Sauce. We have 3 building at a time. Planetary going up here at the 4th. Now in terms of upgrades, it is 2-1 now for Protoss and 2-1 for the Terran, so we're even up in upgrades. Looks like he will have a good Viking count along with +2 weapons for his Vikings. So Sauce by no means out of this, especially now with that 4th base established. And if Grimmid attacks into this, where is Sauce going? He's out of position completely. He had a fantastic position for a second there, but then he moved out of the way, and now he's got it a bit rough. Here come all of the ghosts. Huge EMPs on all of the High Templar, and now everything is falling. The control not there. That engagement was really bad, and now it swings completely back in the other direction with Sauce way out in front. Now he has the 2-2 upgrades along with an upgrade advantage, even bases, and a big supply lead, 173 to 146, so this swings back and forth. There's a huge bank right now for Grimmid, though. It's a bit weird. The Vikings are sort of moving around aimlessly. Needs to morph these gateways. There we go. I would like to see a second robo to try and, it's a bit rough now that there's so many Vikings. So maybe I'm just being stupid, but just more production in every capacity. But here comes the stim in, and there's nothing here. He needs Anti-Templar. A huge warping of Zealots. Fortunately for Grimmid, Sauce just focusing on a couple gateways, for which Grimmid has plenty, but no storms going down during any of that. The Vikings take care of that Colossus immediately, and Grimmid just doesn't have an answer to this Bile right now. Finally a storm going down, but doesn't seem to be enough. Only 2 medevacs on the field right now, and finally going to turn this back as the Bile Ball finally gets dwindled down. And the supply actually evens up, as it doesn't look like we're having enough macro out of Sauce during that to build up another army to continue the pressure. And we have a move up of a few Marauders here, going to take out a pylon. Losing a lot of Vikings here, which is a bit of a problem. Scouting factory hanging around the entire game. 174 to 130 supply now for Grimmid after spending a good chunk of his bank and having so many gateways. However, what he is lacking right now are area of effect damage, but look at this, 101 probes. This is also definitely hurting him. Way too many probes right now. He can't really combat the whole Terran army head on like this, but if he maintains a 50 supply lead, then he can keep up an army. We see here, army supply even, worker supply, not so much. But if you're going to have this much economy, you're going to have to keep up the pressure to make it worthwhile. Building up to one big army could put you in a bad position. Oh, and this army's going to get caught, and Sauce needs to get out of there. And he does. So we still have a good ghost count for Sauce, bringing in even more. He's got 10 on the field right now, along with 13 Vikings. But what he's missing right now is the bulk of his damage to the Gateway army. So he'll be able to take out the area of effect pretty well with good control. So that's the main concern usually. So it's a good composition looking like right now for Sauce, but also pretty deadly out of Grimmid, except for the fact that now they are both maxed out. But Grimmid has 45 more probes, so that means that's 45 more army supply for Sauce. So that puts kind of a rough position here for Grimmid. Grimmid is up to 3-3 on his upgrades, along with +1 on his shields, as well as 3-3 on Sauce as we're at the 26-minute mark. Here come a bunch of FCVs to be stacked, which is exactly what Grimmid needs to be doing right now, as he does not have the supply to engage this. Oh, wow, up to 19 Vikings. 2 more command centers coming out as Sauce tries to move into an orbital-based economy, along with a planetary to secure his actual base here in the center. Both sides being evenly matched in this, but this disproportion in army size may be the difference. Oh, whiffs on the storm, and no detection here for the Protoss player, so he's losing a lot to all of these cloaked ghosts. And Sauce will just roll right over this army. Supply 169 to 144. Now we do have a ton of gateways on the field right now, so he could rebuild a gateway army, as he has already worked in a whole bunch of zealots, which is why the supply remains so close. Archons morphing in, a few sentries, a little everything. The Colossus right now is just not being worth it with so many Vikings, as he still remains with 16 on the field. It's just not worth building the Colossus right now until those get taken out. But it's going to be very tough to fight a late game army with this Zealot Archon composition. Normally this will only be particularly effective in mid-game. Good force fields there, and he closes the distance, cleaning up half that army very quickly. The ghosts are out of position, and now a lot of damage being done. However, he's fighting right here next to the planetary fortress, so that's helping out a lot. And Sauce will hold here at the planetary, but not a bad trade at all for Grimmid. That's more what I think I need to be seeing from him with this ridiculous economy if he's going to keep so many probes. He's continually trading armies just to try and run his opponent dry. Now the Zealot's just completely ignoring the army, running right into the natural, doing some good damage. Good focus down on Tech Labs here. Now it's going to take out the army that spawns from it, but too much bio here, and this hasn't really been worth it. More weapons going on the back at home. A huge number of High Templar are going to merge into 7 Archons, along with 2 Colossus. Again, there's 16 Vikings well upgraded on the field, plus 3 attack on them. And here comes the bio, and I'm not sure if there's enough here. A lot of Archons, but they're not engaging with the Zealots, so there's going to be nothing to tank here for the Archons. But looks like he's going to move back. Shims in with just a few units. Not sure what his plan was, but that hesitation is allowed for another warping round, and these Zealots will help out a lot against this push, and he just falls back instead. Vikings losing a few, so if he can pick off Vikings, this will really help as more Colossi come out. I'd like to see the one of the players try and secure this base here. The 4th for the Protoss is becoming mined out. The 3rd is already completely mined out. So this is the only expansion left on the map. Here comes another engagement. Just some Vikings. They want to focus on this bio army. Big EMPs there. So many ghosts there that he can pretty much blanket EMP the entire army, and the Vile Force 3-3 cuts through this gateway-based army, but again, so many with huge economy, and he can afford to just keep trading, but I'm not sure he can trade very cost efficiently here at this point when there's a big bio army. And slowly Sauce is now going to whittle down the forces of Grimmid. I do have to wonder how this would look if Grimmid had realized quite how many probes he had, but he seems to just be coming back and back with more and more units, and he's starting to actually plow right through here. The ghosts without energy for cloak get all taken down, and now the supply goes way in favor of Grimmid, 191 to 106. A few Archons left hanging out here behind the smoke. Loses a couple Archons, unfortunately, there, just to a few units. But now, engaging here at the planetary, I don't like this at all. This is not being cost efficient, and this is really helping Sauce even up the supply again. 137 to 121, so there goes an 80 supply lead. And it evens up again. Back and forth, the pendulum swings in this game. Now the 4th is completely mined out for Grimmid, so he's back on 2 base, and with this many probes he can't just sit there on 2 base. He has 3 more Colossus just sitting here in his main. Now a 4th moving in here to the expansion up in the top left, but it's another planetary, but the SCVs run around and now start repairing, but it looks like they're going to be taken out. Good control here, running around to avoid fire and keep this planetary defensive here. And a bit of a flank from a few units, and the Zealots forced to engage, going to lose them there. Don't like moving in with these forces, but I guess that's to protect the base over here. Yeah, here comes another warp in of more Zealots. A huge bank of gas for Grimmid. Meantime, we still have these Vikings over here. 171 to 137, though, as these Zealots pick away on the Bioforce. The one thing we seem to be lacking is very consistent bio production out of Sauce. This is one thing that has kind of made this more even in terms of these continued engagements. But oh no, oh, there's the storm finally, but he doesn't get them down, and these units are going to survive and start to do damage here at the natural. But another warp and keep cleaning this up. He's actually doing him a favor killing off probes at this point. So now only at 94. 38 SCVs on the field, though he does have several orbitals. They'll would probably like more. Now we had this expansion secured over here, but that will be taken out by the Bioforce as there are engagements on two fronts. But here come the four Colossi. But this Bioforce is going to move down the this is not good to have these rallying in. Down to 65, 59 probes. So if Grimmid can actually get up to another big death ball, he could actually be in a much better position to actually engage the army of Sauce. The question is if he actually has that kind of time. He doesn't have the huge bank in terms of minerals right now. He is only on 2 mining bases to take out the Colossi. He never dealt with those Vikings. That Viking kind of stayed up the entire game, now losing them. Now 161 to 90, and I'm not sure at this point, not having the econ advantage really, not having the death ball, not having the supply lead, if Grimmid can hold this off any longer, and he calls it right there. GG. Huge back and forth game, and